Maybe, maybe. Oh, maybe. Oh, you want to stand? I will stand, yes. I think these people come in people come.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alia, and I will be your moderator for today's session. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this session on the Safavid Shahnameh, a literary masterpiece and the world's longest epic poem created by a single author. The Shahnameh, also known as the Book of Kings, composed by the Persian poet Abu al-Qasim Mansur Firdausi al-Tusi over 1,000 years ago, is far more than an epic poem. It is a record of how a civilization remembers its origins, understands authority, and imagines their moral responsibilities of rulers. In this manuscript, we do not simply see illustrations of a story, but instead we see how art becomes a language of kingship, and how a Safavid empire re-engages a pre-Islamic Persian past to articulate its own vision of sovereignty and civilization. What makes this session particularly meaningful for us is that a rare copy of the Shahnameh over there, as you can see, is housed in the Istaq library itself, placing this magnificent manuscript tradition within our own intellectual environment. Now, to guide us through this rich manuscript, we are honored to have with us Professor Dr. Amir Zekrgoo, who is an Iranian-born art historian of Islamic and Oriental arts, a researcher of Persian mystical art and literature, and a scholar of comparative religion. He has trained across multiple traditions, studying fine arts at the University of Kansas, Indian art at the University of Delhi, and Islamic manuscript and monumental inscriptions at the National Museum Institute of Art History, Conservation, and Museology. Professor Amir Zekrgoo's research spans Persian mystical art and literature, Islamic calligraphy, illustrated manuscripts, symbolism in Eastern and Islamic visual cultures, and eclecticism in contemporary mosque architecture in Malaysia. He has authored numerous books and over 100 scholarly articles in English, Persian, and Urdu, and his work has been recognized with prestigious fellowships, including the Hirayama Silk Road Fellowship awarded by UNESCO. He has also written 2 to 3 works based on the Shahnameh that we can see over there. At the International Islamic University Malaysia at Istaq, he serves as Professor of Islamic and Oriental Arts, contributing to the study and preservation of manuscript cultures, including the Safavid Shahnameh manuscript we will be discussing today. I know everyone must be anticipating to know more about it. Hence, without further ado, Professor, the floor is yours.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming to this afternoon session. It's a very interesting subject, very interesting manuscript, and the uniqueness of it is that the actual manuscript is here, and I am as unique as this manuscript because I am the only person who knows this manuscript more than everyone. About 12 years ago, I started studying this manuscript. I've published articles on it. So this is wonderful. If someone later on can get me a bottle of water that I could carry, is it because so as you see, it says 1,000-year-old epic. Well, usually something that's 1,000 years old. It's yes. No. I'm talking about the epic is 1,000 year old. The manuscript is 17th century. Okay. So usually anything 1,000 years old, it's so archaic. No one can actually read it except for Iran, except for Persian language, which still could be read and understood by contemporary people. 1,000-year-old poetry, not only text, the poetry. So this is the uniqueness of a culture, and we will talk about it. And the second line, 17th century illustrated manuscript, is this specific manuscript. You'll have a chance to look it up close. I should thank the support extended to me by the library staff, Istax Library, Said Muhammad Naqib al-Attas Library. I've asked them to arrange for the exhibition of this manuscript, and they kindly accepted to do that. Otherwise, these manuscripts are hidden and are not exposed because of many reasons, safety reasons, and when you change the environment of the manuscript, it will react to it. That's why they usually have to be kept in a certain environment, certain degree of heat and cold, that should be balanced. So all that matters. And you have the chance to see it. Let's begin. Our today's menu, as I usually give you. I have 2 slides introducing the author or poet or composer of this epic. Then the epic itself, the Shahnameh, in 4 slides. I'll be introducing its favorite hero, Rustam, in 4 slides. In Malaysia, Rustam is a familiar name, and many people wouldn't know that it's a Iranian hero's name. And then I'll have 1 slide talking about transnational heritage. I'll explain what that means when the slide is there. And then 1 slide representing how Shahnameh actually was presented as performing arts. And then 20 slides, I'll be focusing on the manuscript itself. This is the statue of Ferdowsi, Abul Qasim Ferdowsi. the creator of this timeless epic. He is one of the giants of Persian literature, and he's credited for having revived the Persian language. What do I mean by reviving Persian language? Was it dying? Was it sick? How he did it? Why he did it? I'll tell you. Iranians were exposed to Islam right from the beginning, 7th century. And since the language of faith was Arabic, many of the scholars started writing in Arabic. However, Iranians were the people who composed Arabic grammar even more than the Arabs themselves. And the Islamic calligraphy. We are having 6 styles of Islamic calligraphy that in Arabic they call it al-aqlam al-sitta. This is like you are having nasakh, thuluth, rayhan, tawqi, and all these. These were composed by Iranian scholars also. So they kind of have the attachment to it. And they started writing in Arabic. Then we have Ferdowsi coming, creating this epic that kind of connects the pre-Islamic to the Islamic period. And this is a kind of pure Persian composition. And the story is mainly the story of pre-Islamic Persia, although Ferdowsi himself was a devoted Muslim. Being a Muslim, he realized that pre-Islamic does not mean bad necessarily. It's your heritage. You keep it. And the problem with many Muslim societies nowadays is that when they become Muslim, they feel that their pre-Islamic heritage is bad. If Malaysia or Indonesia used to be Hindu, oh, no, that's not us. We are Muslims. That's not good, because the richness of heritage, it's not framed within an ideology or faith. When you develop art, when you develop architecture, like you have in here, batik, and you have different forms of art that are pre-Islamic, and you share it with Hindu and Balinese and Buddhist, these are rich heritages. I used to teach for many, many years in ISTAC history of Islamic art and philosophy of Islamic art. I wished I still could offer those courses. Now I'm more focused on that. But I would tell my students that most of the Islamic architecture comes from pre-Islamic Persia. I actually showed them a slide. I tell them, what is this? They'll say, oh, this is probably a maqbara of a Sufi, a tomb of a Sufi, or it's a mosque, or this. Everyone, without any exception, knows that this is Islamic. And then I show the caption. It's a pre-Islamic Zoroastrian fire temple. Because what we know as mosque was a development of pre-Islamic, what existed. And if we disconnect ourselves, from our previous ancient heritage, we become weaker, not more stronger. Remember, when Islam came, it did not separate itself from Christianity or Judaism. It came as an extension of a tradition that started from Adam. So the idea is not to destroy something, to bring something new. It's about refining a culture. So this is what I meant. He revived the Persian language. Ferdowsi spent 35 years of his life to complete his masterpiece. He rightly claims that his work revived Persian language and made him immortal. What you see under the picture is actually two couplets by Ferdowsi himself. I'll recite it, and then I'll give you the translation that I made this blue one. It reads, بسی رنج بردم در این سال سی عجم زنده کردم بدین پارسی نمیرم از این پس که من زنده ام که تخم سخن را پراکنده ام. The meaning is 3 decades I spent in hardship and despair, reviving Iran's Persian language with care. I shall never die. I will forever survive. The seed of speech shall keep my name alive. Shahnameh literally means the book of the king or kings. This monumental work is composed of 50,000 couplets. It surpasses by far in sheer length the Homeric Iliad and Odyssey combined. These two are famous in the world, but Shahnameh no one knows about it because the Eurocentric mindset that has been there for long. I remember one of my students who did her PhD here went to New Zealand to do another PhD on an Iranian philosopher, Sohrawardi. And imagine the professor had told her, your references are not good. I mean, use Western scholar sources. For Sohrawardi, who was Iranian, the Iranian sources were invalid. The Western sources had to be given priority. That is the mentality gradually grown among us. It's not their fault. It's our fault because we do not know our heritage very well. If we know the heritage well, then we realize what's valid and what's not. By the way, the picture on the right is from this Shahnameh that's here, this text Shahnameh. And what is inside Shahnameh? Shahnameh combines myth and history, idealism and realism, ethics and politics. That's complete life. When I tell you history and myth, could you tell me what is history? When does history start? Anyone can? When we say something historical, what do we mean? When we say something is prehistoric, what do we mean? Anyone? Come on. Okay. Well, history officially starts when we have writing. So when we say prehistory, we just mean that writings were not there. Now we think that something prehistory or myth, they are non-existent, they are illusional. What is real is history. History starts only when texts were available. Now, lately, in the last decade or so, the meaning of history also changed, went back. From where the sources like art is not available, because art carries a lot of knowledge. Okay, so the meaning of history is something fluid also. So when we say prehistory, it doesn't mean illusional. Okay, let me compare a few words for you. Just listen. Anyone knows the word ustura, the Arabic ustura? Asatir is the هذا أساطير الأولين. Ustura means myth. Okay, Arabic. Ustura, then we have story. Story means story. And then we have history. They came from the same word because they were all same. They were realities as one. So they did not differentiate our ancestors between what is recorded and what is heard and what's real, but I don't know. They constituted the same reality. Okay? So, Shahnameh presents itself as a sword chronicling the reigns of all the kings of Iran, from primordial founders all the way to the embracing of Islam by Persians around the time of its advent. That's advent of Islam. Islamic devotion while maintaining pre-Islamic identity. Though the epic takes place in a mythical or historically pre-Islamic era, Ferdowsi expresses his reverence towards Prophet Muhammad and his household, the Ahl al-Bayt. In this sense, the epic acts as a link connecting the pre-Islamic and Islamic Iran and creates a comfortable balance between glorious pre-Islamic heritage of the Persians and their Islamic identity. This connection is extremely important. I'll tell you some event that happened. There was a conference, and one Iranian scholar was talking to an Egyptian scholar. And the Egyptian professor told him, "It's so great that you have such a rich heritage." The Iranian responded, "You are Egyptian. You had a rich heritage." He said, you're right, but we didn't have Ferdowsi. We didn't have a person who will connect our prehistory to historical. When Egypt became Muslim, it gave up its pre-Islamic heritage. Egypt was immense. Just think of the pyramids. They're still amazing people. Even the name Egypt or Misr is new. It has an old name. It's wiped. No Egyptian can read pre-Islamic text of Egypt. Okay? That is how dangerous it is when you give up part of yourself. Look at this. It's one beautiful thing. You see that flag? That's a drawing I did from a part of this manuscript. You could see actually one of those in the page open, in the corner. They are talking about the story of the images is the battle between two groups. Both of them are pre-Islamic. But the good side is carrying a flag with an Allah on the top. It is as if goodness is associated with Islam, not historically Islamic. When I ask you, is respecting your elders an Islamic act? How do you respond? Yes or no? Of course. Now I ask you, didn't pre-Islamic people respected their elders? They did. Didn't they act an Islamic act? They did in pre-Islamic era. That means Islam and goodness did not start 1400 years ago. It's in our genes. Okay? Once it appeared in the form of Sayyidina Yusuf, Sayyidina Musa, Sayyidina Isa, Sayyidina Ibrahim, all these. And when we limit understanding Islam to a historic reality, we are reducing it. Yes. Of this, okay, because when the poem goes on, they are talking about two groups that are fighting. The group are clearly pre-Islamic. They don't have any historical references. They are before Islam. Okay? So this is the process of Islamization through art. Okay, then. Okay, I mean, when we say pre-Islamic, nowadays we do mean historically pre-Islamic. That means before the advent. But in the context, yeah, yeah. Once I asked one of my students, Prophet, the Prophet is the person who brought Islam. He said, yet. I said, who was his father? He said, Abdullah. I said, Abdullah, is it an Islamic name? It was pre-Islam. It's Prophet's father. That means if we are talking about Islam in its essence, it's timeless. Yeah. Yeah. And the Quran is also said it's qadim, that is eternal. Yeah, well, you could say that. But none of these are accurate in the sense of the word, right? Because accuracy comes with historically small things, whereas the truth cannot be measured with our meters. So, mm, yeah, right, right. Yes. Yes. It was your fault. Everyone is now talking. It was your fault. It was her fault. Now everyone is talking. I'm supposed to continue my task. Yeah. Yeah. So Shahnameh narrates the life and victories of Iranian people from ancient times to the fall of Sasanian Empire in the 7th century. The epic also includes many charming, independent, dramatic stories that connected the Iranians to their ancient pre-Islamic heritage. What you see on the right is actually a sculpture. It's a modern sculpture, but it's of Rostam, the hero of Shahnameh. And the references are correct. You see, he's wearing a helmet with horns. This is a story that he killed a demon and took the skull out, and from that he made this helmet for himself. And he's also known to cover himself with a cover made of tiger skin. And you see you see the head of tiger here. You see? Okay. So, well, in the story, it's tiger. This is modern. Yeah. But in the paintings, it's tiger because it shows all those. This is not. Yeah. So Rostam has a mysterious genealogy. Rostam's father, his name was Zal. He was son of Sam. He was raised in the wilderness by a mythical bird called Simorgh. This is, since this enters mythology, we couldn't identify what's what. We just know that his grandfather was Sam and his father was Zal. And Zal, how was he raised? What was raised? Simorgh is a benevolent, wise, and majestic mythical bird in Persian mythology. It symbolizes protection, immortality, and wisdom. I tell you the story how uh, when Sam had his son, he was very shocked because the son came with white hair, white eyebrows, white eyelashes, everything. Everyone considered that demonish. Therefore, it was a shame to have that kind of son. So he took the son in the wilderness and left it there in the mountains. Now, this mythical bird comes and takes care of that son. In this picture, you'll see this is the Simorgh, and this is the son, the baby Zal. Okay, yeah. And then son of Zal is Rostam. Rostam is the central hero figure of Shahnameh. Shahnameh is the book of Kings. Can I explain? I mean, I had one slide. You were not listening. Yeah. Shahnameh means book of the king. Yeah. No, Sivamogh is the bird. So he's Taj Bakhsh. Taj Bakhsh means crown bestower. Okay, so you see the position of a hero. Hero officially is under the king, but really, king gets his kingship because of it, his heroism. Okay. Originally, they were all Persian. I have actually one slide that I talk about Persianate societies. Persianate societies are the societies that were influenced by Persian culture, which expands to India, Central Asia, Turkey, and even for the Turkish kings, they composed poetry in Persian. So Rostam is the embodiment of courage and justice. He is in constant battle with enemies and demons. Though he is supposedly a servant of the kings, the very kingdom he defends depends on the mythical and divine authority. He is often a living challenge to the idea of kingship, even though his whole epic life is dedicated to upholding it. That means a true hero is the one that serves the king and criticizes the king, because he is not having a servitude mentality. He's a hero. He understands. If the king says something wrong, he said, "You're wrong. You shouldn't do this." And in the stories of Shahnameh, this happens many times, that Rostam is angry with the king, and he says, "I'm not doing this." Leaves, and he goes to his own land for months. And then afterwards, they see that they need this person. They call him, and the king apologizes to him and says, "Please head this army, do this and that." So he's not only a macho guy with muscle that goes and kicks out, the enemies. He thinks righteousness with that. This is the slide that I told you, transnational heritage. What does that mean? That means you are having a heritage that's not limited within your nation. Malaysians understand that very well. You have the concept of Nusantara. Okay? So your heritage is not Malaysian heritage. It's the Malay heritage that goes beyond the borders of Malaysia into Thailand, into Indonesia, into Brunei, even extends to Philippines. That's what it means, transnational heritage. So Shahnameh is one of the world's longest epic poems created by a single poet. It is the greatest epic of Persianate societies. The term Persianate, what does it mean? It means Persianate societies are regions and cultures that have been historically shaped by the influence of Persian language, literature, and traditions, especially in countries such as Iran, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Pakistan, and India. Hmm? They also are, this is just example. You see, yes, the stance, that's right. You see what you see here. This is exactly. This is Persian Gulf, and this is Iran. This is Caspian Sea. The red color is the extent of the Persian. No, it was Iran or Persia just 100 years ago. It looked like that. And this is India, influence, yeah, Pakistan. It is like many of you may know that India for 700 years, Persian language was the official language. If someone in India wants to study history, if he doesn't know Persian, he cannot study history because their history is written in Persian.
Was of Persia. When they refer to Malay manuscript,
Mhm.
they said Malay rulers came from Hindustan. So then Hindustan refers to Persia.
Yes,
From the land of Hindustan.
Hindustan, yeah. Hindustan is,
Usually,
I think they were influenced by the Persian ethnic. That's why they also bring their home under the sea, from here, from there, from the god, from everywhere. Influence.
yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
okay, yeah. You see, she's the queen, I cannot scold him, but then I face you and you because of.
I really find it very interesting. It could be referred to Persia. Where they refer
It is.
to
You see,
Hindustan.
last week I had a lecture on Hamza Fansuri. And, I told that Hamza Fansuri was influenced by 13 Persian writers, and he quotes from them in his writing in Persian. Hamza knew Persian, and he had actually memorized Persian poetry. So the influence is there. You have the word Pahlawan, is a Persian word. You have Nakhuda, is a Persian word. Angur is a Persian word. Yes. It's more Turkish. More Turkish in it, yeah. Persian Turkish, yeah.
In the one of the movie, it explains how how the Persian came up with the astronomy and check the calendar.
Right.
There's a Persian calendar. All that very interesting.
That's
movie.
that. Al Parsalan. And yeah. So no more disturbing. Okay. Now this is how Shahnameh became a performing art and how important it is. Shahnameh found expression in two distinct forms of popular performing arts. One of them is called Naqali, comes from Naqal, means narrating. The other one is called Pardekhani, literally means reading the painting, illustrated storytelling. These are one-man storytelling shows supported by large paintings. What you see on the right, these are old Naqals and Pardakhans. We had these paintings, and these people who had memorized Shahnameh will go there and tell the stories in a very dramatic manner, not just they move like this, that Rustam came and would do this and that, and then they would move like this and then come back. And they do these performances. And what does this do? It makes this into an oral tradition. That means many people know the stories of Shahnameh because of the coffee house gatherings where the Naqals were explaining them. Nowadays, our knowledge is parked outside.
But the Iranians now know this story.
Yes, most of them know. Most of them know the stories. At least they know the major stories of Rostam and Sohrab and all this, they know it. But the story, the extent of Shahnameh is very large. Many, many stories. Rostam, I will reach that. I will reach that. So you were going to ask something. What did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes. So many of them. Actually, Shahnameh has been illustrated more than any other Persian manuscript. The English is also available.
So, within all the popular Shahnameh, was there any research?
Oh, yes, there are some people that are specialized in Shahnameh. They do all these things. These falls on their manuscript studies, and they do that. Now, why is it reproduced so many times? Because it's connected to the heritage. That means every king or every noble that came, they commissioned their own personal Shahnameh that would engage calligraphers, painters, paper makers. A lot of people will have work to do because of this support. Now, the storytelling is finished. Now we are entering to introduce this beautiful manuscript, which Istak possesses. Brother Zaki, I have a question for you. Do you know this? Is this part of the collection of the late, what was his name? The British guy that sold his collection. No, no. Professor Alatas bought this from, what was his name? Barker. This is not part of the Barkers. It's not. Okay. So Istak's Shahnameh has got 29 illustrations. Some of them you'll see here. Yeah, the complete manuscript has 29 paintings in it. So 29 pages with illustration. Actually, it was supposed to be 30. This volume, that you see here, has 29 illustrations. It was supposed to be 30. How I know? Because one page is left blank. One page is left blank. None. It was not stolen. It was not painted. The page is there. Not enough time. Yeah. So these are the photographs that I have done from the manuscript. This is because I record the physical condition of the manuscript. If there are tears, if there are stains, as you see here, you see this part has been restored. You see this lighter parts are extra papers later added to the disconnect corner has been restored. What you see here is that there was a painting on the opposite page is what's still not dry quite. It was closed. So the paint was transferred to this. So these are the things that I do. There are flakes of paint over there. So the manuscript, I say it's in a fairly good condition. There are stains on some pages. This is all in Persian. No. There are stains on some pages. The volume has undergone restoration while in possession of its former owners. That means this restoration was not done by Stack before it was done. It's dated 24th of Shawwal, 1021. That's 28 December, 1612. How do we know that? Because the calligrapher usually towards the end of the manuscript gives a note that, finished this book on such and such date by so-and-so. He put his name. His name was Al-Kirmani. It's actually Hassan or Mohsen Al-Kirmani. And the script is Nastaliq style by this is mistake, Ibn Al-Kirmani. Kerman is the name of a city in Tehran, in Iran. So Kirmani means a person from Kerman. You see, Safavid is the period. Safavid is 16th century period. 16th, 17th century, yeah. Is the name of a dynasty. Yeah. This Ferdowsi is the poet composer, and Al-Kirmani is the scribe, the calligrapher. Yes. So the whole volume has 340 folios. Folios does not mean page, means leaf. So 340 means actually 680 pages. No. Yes, folios is one leaf. Front and back, they call it folio. And that's the size. As you see, it's divided into columns. Some of them, when the story does not finish properly to end the page, the artist has created this beautiful grid, putting all this there. Headlines are in red ink, while the main body of the epic is scribed in black. Okay, I told a minute ago, I'll repeat for you. Okay. You see, yeah. You see, sometimes the number of couplets are fixed, right? So when you come, you'll see if I finish it here, the rest of the page will be empty. So they create this kind of grid beautifully so that, this is an artistic distribution of lines, which takes a lot of calculations and creativity. Okay, good question. You see, every two lines constitute one couplet. Okay, one line is called a bait or hemistich, not a bait, misra or hemistich. Two is a couplet. So this is one. So for instance, if I want to read, it will be بسی رنج بردم در این سال سی عجم زنده کردم بدین پارسی نمیرم از این پس که من زنده ام که تخم سخن را پراکنده ام. Right to left, then down. Sometimes they go like this and there. What? Huh? Okay. That's true. Thank you for the contribution. The lady who talked, she specializes in actually, she specializes in manuscript conservation, and she has good knowledge. And when she said this is an addition, good addition, that means this like small triangles that are created here. In other manuscript, we see that illuminators come and decorate that page. Okay?
I can help you.
So, inshallah, we'll do that. So to complete Professor Mandana's talk, the process, every manuscript for its production, they had an atelier. They call it karkhane, the Persian word karkhane nowadays means factory. So you had many people in one. One was the paper maker. The other made the rule lines. Then you have the calligrapher. Then you have the painter. Then someone who dyes the, someone who binds the. So this single manuscript involves many, many people to reach its perfection. So a good calligrapher necessarily is not a good painter. The painter is not a good calligrapher. And there are some people who do the great lines like, let me go back. No. Okay. Just see how the spaces are equal, very precise. This is done by, another person. So it's a collective work. Nowadays, individuality of the artist is so big that cannot share. I'm lucky that, once I did one painting, 4 people, large painting, 4 people contributed. Nowadays, you don't hear that. Okay. Now we're moving to the layout, something that, artistic, I'll be introducing to you. The layout of illustrated pages. What does layout means? Layout means that how you divide page for different purposes. Illustrator follow the 3 main compositional categories. We have closed or conservative composition, which is this one. No, this one on the left. So you have, this is the margin of the page. Then you have the text or the poem. Then in between, you have the image. The image could be further up or down, but it's basically a square or rectangle that, yes, that goes up and down. Then we have the semi-conservative composition, where you have the text, but the artist has this freedom. It pushes the painting out of the format. And the third one is a creative or open composition that, it's only from one side closed, but from the other side, it's quite free. I'll give you examples to see. This is the conservative composition. You see, text. This is, if you here, text, then you have a proper rectangle or square in this case in here. You see, that's right. Yes, allocated. Yeah.
But they don't know how much draw the page. But they draw boxes. But you're always trying to eat. Sometimes you're thinking how to collaborate. They always like the pan. Can.
Mhm. Yeah. No, it's not. Actually, it's an aesthetic aspect which you find in Persian literature, that they compare a beautiful beloved to a Chinese idol. Chinese idol. Bote Chin. Bot means idol. Chin is China. Bote Chin is Chinese idol. So my beloved is a Bote Chin, is a Chinese idol. So that beauty, and then they compare to beautiful eyes to almonds. Okay, almond eyes. So all those, creates this notion. So you are already seeing this. We have another example. This is conservative composition. Another example. Do you remember I showed you this? This. You see, this paint was not completely dry, and they closed it, so the paint was transferred to this. This, it is a cloud. And just to mention, this is not from the original painting. In the time of restoration, probably this part was flaking, so they completed it with a fresh paint. They were not as careful as they should have, and this had happened. Yes, the restoration. This is another. And you see, here is beautiful. It takes the flag out of the up there, and up there is an Allah. You cannot see. I'll show you. Yeah, written Allah. Yeah. That I said that stories are pre-Islamic, but when there are two groups fighting, when two groups are fighting, the good side takes a flag that has Allah in it. The paintings are Safavid, they are not pre-Islamic. The stories are pre-Islamic. Islamic period. Yes. His name is Abu Qasim. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is what I call the semi-conservative composition. You see, it goes out of the, you see, this side, it goes out. And it's quite creative and beautiful. It comes out of that. Yeah. Why? It's because it's more attractive. Yeah. It's more attractive. Yeah. This is another example that you see the whole paintings will take out of the here and it goes all the way to the edge of the paper. This, an architectural form is added. Just imagine painting this requires imaginative creativity and planning, because the painting is explaining this text, so that every personality here and here is explained in this writing. This is the creative one. Ink is black ink. Black ink, yes. They use the gold usually in the paintings, and in the paintings also in what we call illumination when they are decorating. This has not got much decoration. This page that you see, if I'm not mistaken, the page that's open here is this page. You see an elephant there, and then you see the flag there, and tree there, and you know, this is Rostam. When I said he's wearing something that is this is a hero, and he's wearing the tiger skin. Oh, yeah. This is the hero. Yes, yes. That's right. That's right. These are needs restorations, but restoration you don't do restoration unless you must. Otherwise, you damage. Very nice question. Actually, miniature paintings, they are categorized in different styles. We have Isfahani school, then we have Hirati school, and these have affinity to one another. So, but everything that's in this Isfahani school, they're kind of relatives that look alike with a little difference. So the style is moves through tradition from one person to another to the child, so they follow. And if a master comes and can add a little bit different to one, then say, okay, that's a master who has added it, that becomes a tradition itself. So as you see, this is an open from all sides. It could be It's a Nabard Sohrab và Gorda Farid. This is a part of the story when Sohrab, the son of Rostam, fights another hero, then realizes that she's a girl. When the helmet moved, then they, oh, this is a girl fighter. Yeah. Yes. Oh, there's a typo error there. It's Gorda Farid, not T. The T should be R. And Gorda Farid itself has a meaning. Gord means Pahlawan, hero, and Afarid means created. That means a hero born. Gorda Farid. And I've seen Islamization via symbolism. This is, you can see the Allah, you can see there. Karzar. Karzar means battle. Rustam in Karzar. Okay. That is a drawing that I've done the mirror one just to match the form, but actually the original one is correct. It's correct. It's correct. And here you can see how a hero is compared to the king. This young fellow is supposed to be a king. And this is our hero. Okay? Because kingship is hereditary. It goes through the blood. So he may be young, but the respect is there. It represents the institution. Therefore, if you're a hero, you respect the person who's a king. You also advise him. And if he's doing wrong, you scold him respectfully. Yes, that's right. That's right.
I think the nation
But in your shadow play, you used to have people. You used to have people during the Islamic period. They gradually removed people because of the sensitivity of the sun. Yeah. Hmm. So, but just remember the transnational heritage. So when you say, but it's not here, it was Thai. Thai was part of the Malay world, and Indonesia was part of the Malay world. So you had the tradition of painting faces in the Malay world. Yeah. Okay. And this is an important, you see, there are writings in this corner. When the person checked the writing, say, oh, two couplets are missing. And then he added it over there. This is an enlarged version of the same thing.
Where would it be?
Well, when you read the story, you'll realize. I mean, only you'll realize when you read it. Then say, oh, okay, this is the missing part. Yeah. I really when I wanted to talk about Shahnameh, I wanted to remind you about what you said about Hantua and Hikayat Hantua. You see, how many Malay people know the story of Hikayat Hantua? Because it's they don't consider it our heritage. If it is your heritage, yes. And one reason is the change of script also has something to do with it. Wow. Hmm. Yes, inshallah. Inshallah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You see, the thing is that if you want to do that, you have to disassemble the whole thing. And when you start that, then that would be a huge project, because that's not only that page. There are other pages and other pages. Then you, yeah. So this is actually the most sad part of the uh, Shahnameh. You see, Rostam is the hero. His son, Sohrab, he leaves when his wife is pregnant. Rostam goes for the fights. Years pass, and the father and the son never met. The son grows up, goes to another country, and that country fights Iran. And now, Turan, and now Iran has his hero, Rostam. Turan has his hero, Sohrab. And they do fight. And eventually, the father kills his son. And what happens when the son, look at here. This is very important. Pay attention. I'm telling you now. Okay, have a patience. Okay. You see, this is Rostam. This is Sohrab. This is Sohrab. So what happened when Rostam was leaving his wife, pregnant wife, he gives an amulet. He said, give this to my son. And then that's covered. They fight. And when the son is injured, the son will complain. He will say, my father will come and take my revenge. This is my father. And you see the amulet there. Huh? It was a, yeah. Usually it's made of leather with some valuable stone or gems on it. Okay, so now Rostam sends to get physicians to take care of the son, but he dies. No, after a couple of hours while he's sitting there. So now this becomes a very dramatic story that the storytellers tell. And everyone knows that this Sohrab will die, but everyone's still very distressed. And funny thing and interesting is that people will go and pay the naqal. Please don't say this part, because it's too sad. And the story goes in, it's in the blood of everyone. Everyone knows this. And even Ferdowsi, who's the composer, he criticizes Rostam. He says, even animals, they can sniff their children. But we humans will reach a state that even when our son is there, we cannot realize that. So, thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Professor Amir. Now I would like to open the floor to the participants if you have any more questions regarding the manuscript. It would be great if you could use the mic as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you. It's really interesting. And I actually heard the whole story in my childhood. The Rustam Sohrab, it's very common story for children, especially.
Wow, you see, she's from Pakistan and she knows this story. So this is the transnational heritage.
After so many years, you revive it. And it's really interesting. And my childhood memories are popping up in my mind. So only one question. You describe the Shahnameh as preserving centuries of history and cultural memory. In your view, how does this particular Safavid manuscript remember differently from a modern printed edition, and also through its image and marginalia, and also our codicological features in it?
Okay, I start with the last. Codicological features, you can read it in my article that's published, because I've written article published in Ash-Shajara, not one, I think two articles on the codicological aspect of this. How this work is different from the modern ones, the content is pretty much the same. It's not changed. Maybe comparing the original text, one word in certain couplets is registered different than, so basically the story is the same. So people buy it to read it and to keep it as a pride, because usually Shahnamehs that are printed, most of them are big, beautiful, on glossy paper, etc. There are scholarly works that come in 4 volumes, like Professor Jalali Mutlaq was a outstanding scholar of Shahnameh. His work is in 4 volumes. He talks about, this specific couplet is originally not from Ferdowsi. This is like that. That kind of work, 40 years of work on a 35-year composition of Ferdowsi. So this is how. Did I miss anything? Yeah.
Of course, just about the difference, when you have the historical Shahnameh, you have access to many, many knowledge, different layers, because every material has a story, like paper, the dyes, the sizing, the pigment. Yeah, and you can even look at the social, cultural transaction between different Shahnameh, how it has been passed to different countries and all. So, of course, the contemporary one is just a text, but you can have images which you can appreciate, and it's the daily life of the people to use Shahnameh, even for New Year. We have a Shahnameh in one side and Quran on the other side of the table. So it is very, very important for the Iranian to link every day with the Shahnameh. Sorry, thank you.
Yes.
Alaikum. I have a question, just pure curiosity. Is it possible to, I don't know how much is already known about this very manuscript in terms of when it was created, crafted until now, like how many owners did it pass through? Who were the owners? Where were they? Like, just out of curiosity,
Yes.
is that recorded anywhere in terms of how it eventually made its way to Istak?
On this specific one, not really. The whole story is not there. But there are, luckily, Istak possesses a collection of Persian manuscript from the late Abdurrahman Barker. Abdurrahman Barker was actually, I think his name was Philip. He was a British, converted to Islam, and lived in Pakistan and India for a long time. He learned Persian and Urdu, and he collected all these manuscripts. Then he moved to Canada. And in the beginning of the manuscripts, he writes 786, which is, in Abjad, it means Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim. It is common in Urdu writing. And he writes that, this book was, by Abdurrahman Barker, Mujallad, September, so and so, 1964, Canada. So some manuscripts, they do have traces of the previous owners through some sort of stamp or writings. Some of them don't. The ones that, Barker has, we can note that, okay, if this is Iranian, some of them from the style of writing or etc., then it has moved to India or Pakistan because he lived there. Then he took it to Canada. And from there, since Professor Naqib al-Atas was his contemporary, he knew him. Barker, before he died, he wanted to sell off his collection. And Professor al-Atas, who was here at that time, with the support of the present prime minister. No, government, but personally, yeah. Yes, I mean, the government was the support of that, so he was able to, because actually Anwar was a student of Professor Alatas, so the influence, the money came from the government to Prof. Alatas. It went to Barker, and this way, from Canada, things came to Malaysia, which is a very beautiful story. Yeah. He was very lucky. Very lucky. That's right. True. What she is telling is very important thing. What is important is that luck is an element. Luck is an element. You cannot manage everything through calculation. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Mm. Yes. But someone should be able to buy. That's right. Yeah. If I were a rich man. Yeah. You're first, then.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum, Prof. My question is, in Malay, this kind of epic has its own political purpose to validate the Sultan rule and whatsoever. But you say Firdausi create this epic during his life, 1940 to 100,
Yes.
1100. Yeah.
Yes.
Does this epic serve as same political tool and only circulate among elites, or it is a masses expression of heritage? Yeah.
A very deep and important question. Actually, Ferdowsi did a great sacrifice. Why? Because the rise of Islamization in his time was so strong that when he wrote this, they accused him of being a kafir. You're talking about pre-Islamic heritage and greatness and these kings and that kings. He was accused for that. And stayed 35 years he committed to keep a heritage alive. So during his time, he actually he did a great sacrifice. Later on, gradually, this became an important symbol of heritage. So everyone who had the money will commission his own because it's a beautiful story, beautiful painting, beautiful calligraphy, beautiful poetry, all in one. The entire heritage packed in one. That's why the most illustrated manuscripts in the entire Persian tradition is the Shahnameh. You can, I mean, I think online it's available. Yes, yeah. Mm.
One question. As ma'am said that
Question?
ma'am described that now the usual Iranian homes, they have Shahnameh and they usually read it. So how do visual programs, as you shown us the visual theatrical programs, and even you explain it with the theater footsteps. So how do the visual program of Safavid Shahnameh manuscript contribute to constructing a specific political and spiritual identity for their patrons beyond the textual narrative itself?
An honest answer will be I really don't know how how, especially in politics, I understand that since monarchy was there, the monarchs supported a lot the Shahnameh. Okay. After the Islamic Revolution, we didn't have that much support. However, the heritage itself, the culture was so strong, it continued to stay a powerful part of the tradition, especially since Ferdowsi was a Muslim, and he mentions inside the epic his faith to Prophet Muhammad and Ahl Bayt and all, so he's kind of sanctified with that, so no problem. But it influenced a great deal our painting tradition. That means modern painters took the ideas for creating paintings, independent paintings, regardless of the poetry. So it became a visual culture in the painting area. Also, the tradition of performing arts still continues, that there are still people trained how to explain this in a heroic, epic manner through their memory and wear in a certain kind of outfit and perform. That is still there. Yeah. Mhm. Shahnameh. I think that aspect has more to do. I think there's a different source for that. No, different source. I mean, I'm saying that in Persian tradition, we did have books similar to to Bustan al-Salatin, which gives advice to the yeah. Mm.
Actually, I have a question which is related to what Tuanku is saying. Yeah, because you mentioned Bustan Sultan. I've read part of it, and it started with creation of the world, and sorry of Adam. But then he said that, I remember this part, the first king was somebody called Qmat or Gayumat, something like that. Same name, because I read it's in Shahnameh.
That's in Shahnameh.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the first king in Shahnameh is Gayumat, right?
Yes.
Gayumat, how you pronounce it?
Humans.
Except in Shahnameh, it also says that this Gayumat is the first human. Whereas in the Bustan Sultan, first human is Adam, and then suddenly appears Gayumat as the first king.
Ah.
And it is. So I
Wow.
don't know. Can you tell this story about Gayumat? What does Shahnameh say about Gayumat actually? Or is it Gayumat? I don't know.
Actually, I don't have that in my mind, you know, what the story is. But it was very interesting for me to know that the Bustan Sayatin has. Oh, Kumar.
So we have Manuscript D. We have Manuscript D. Hukum bagi wazir berkaitan dengan book reference book for the king and minister. To the point minister they must have before king, and they must put aside the greed and the shaitan. Also the people on if only we have this book still today. I mean I have the book now. I'll clean up to that. Just so that the leader can read the book and then know that this is how you do it. But I found that in the leader of king, it's like usually the pattern of Manuscript B, and T, and he made it like a story. Like your Shahnameh. They made it like a story, but of course they added Islamic thing, of course. But the character of how to rule is and that's what it is. Now HKP and I say with the Mansuri and the Jason, you believe everything. Yes, we don't know. And they want it. So they are all really decided. I wrote to them. I wrote that the ruler was and we can in the divine. Then the little time of answers go with the people. The idea travels to people, the idea travels to people. The shared mobile, thought-based intellectual class. The Malay system was shared by people, scholars, most of the region of state, by Lord creation of us. I see the connection all within the yeah. Yes. So there's no or there's really not topic. The answer is intellectual answer. The Malay one did not reduce actually the act, but really that also that the law and government is something greater. And that so Islamic civilization lives you know, then is about law and government and how to get, then part of nautical thing. Be there.
Okay.
I understand that in Shahnameh, the Kayumat is the first king and also the first human. No, the first king of the world and also the first human in Shahnameh. But in Bustan Salatin, you have the creation story according to Muslim tradition first. So you have the first man as Adam. But suddenly along the way, then appeared the name Kayumat as the first king. Where else I understand in Shahnameh, he's also the first man.
There's something in the video I am not right. Something all this will mythical thing as well. There in it.
You see, the mythology of Shahnameh does not go to that extent. It goes to a level that, you have Rostam actually fighting demons, and, and that it has to pass different stages, and dreams are there. But it's pretty close to a realistic thought with a touch of imagination. So it's not totally like that. That's why people regard this a chronological version of the true history, which is not historically recorded. It goes to pre-Islamic times. Mm. You see, okay, about Zulqarnain, many Quranic mufassirs, they say that Zulqarnain is the Cyrus the Great, the Persian Cyrus the Great, not the Greek. So the term Iskandar has been added in the Quran. Actually, we have the Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan from India, and also late Ayatollah Tabatabai, who has written Tafsir al-Mizan. They both give evidences that Quran says this, and you can find the Quran says Zulqarnain went this. This is the equivalent of that in the Cyrus, and this and that, and at the end, I remember Ayatollah Tabatabai says, therefore, there is no doubt that the Quranic Zulqarnain is the same as the Persian Cyrus. Wallahu alam. At the end, wallahu. You are. Okay. Yeah. Welcome to the. Raja is actually an Indian word. Yeah. Yes, yes. Raja is shared between all the Persianate and Indian.
Before this, we thought Raja Garupa from India. Now we found how
but if you do see Alexander the Great died to her. He doesn't get when he's here.
Tapi tuanku, on that note ya, Solatul Salatin saya ingat memang mention yang dikata Iskandar Solatul Salatin daripada Makedonia dia sebut dalam Solatul Salatin. The Quranic Zulkarnain is another story, but dalam Solatul Salatin disebut Makedonia.
I
I'm so
Yes.
sorry. I will have to cut this conversation short. Perhaps we can have another discussion after this.
watch this. The manuscript.
Yes,
you-
yes. So everyone should go and watch the manuscript after this. And with that, we will end the session of today. I would like to once again extend my gratitude to Prof. Amir because we can see that it is still being continued to be studied even until today and even for more generations to come. And we hope that from the knowledge that we've gained today, we can continue to appreciate more manuscripts and learn more about it in the future. Before we disperse, I would like to call everyone for a short photography session. Now we can wrap up the session for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Yes, perhaps you can get that at the front for a photography session. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. They will, this angle with the book. No, circle the book. Sorry.
We can stand beside. Yeah.
Just learn something, you can shake it will. It's I'm OCD. OCD. Totally. I think everyone just stand around.
Chairperson, you are at the beginning.
My classmate.
Sister, the best picture.
Oh.
Tuan kena datang. Wan tu orang kan. Masuk dalam meja. Slide dia. So.
Okay.
Pendek dulu.
Please come in.
This was an open composition. It went out of the
Listen to your director. Alpha.
Nak dapat natural lighting kan? Baik, 2, 3. Check balik kualiti. My husband. About, I think, 2 years plus. After tender over. You can ask the BBC. You can ask the BBC.
Nak pergi ke sana? Jalan tepi. Tapi nampak dekat tepi. Macam tu. Balik. I couldn't scam actually. Because this is an old picture of me. It's not in the.
Naik ni usara siapa ni?
It's a kind of cat, but that's not me. But for some reason, when they yeah. Do you want the picture? So how did you find it?
How do I get it in club?
You can networking. You want to go in? Okay.
Yes. Find out.
I just the visit here.
Nice.
Oh, yesterday.
Hello.
Yeah, you come. Yeah.
I want to introduce this person
Yeah.
because many years ago, he did his master thesis under me in the oldest staff. So he was one of my.
Rostam. You're Rostam.
Excuse me, what's the year? Yes. Yes. That's right.
But I said that one. That I wanted.
And I was lucky to say, but
But now for us now, if in any of the university, just you will say.
No, governor. That's not allowed.
Now, any ministry or so the auditor, or you have to thank him, also buy, and they have money, yang pro, berkembang. Actually, oh yeah. No, I just. What do you want? You got a child. 3 years. I thought that went to be or do you speak Japanese? Any problem, they just in Japan, Pakistan.
I didn't see him for many years until I heard about the passing. So I must have been.
Well, he's been living here. Yeah. In my research method, what is that from there? What in there? Go back. The lawyer for Venezuela, you didn't know that my other but I remember history better.
It wants to be said Shahnameh. Powder I'm really strong. I'm not white like you. I'm supposed to be.
The border.
Yeah, about it. Pulau. Red ko ba portion ito?
But then the best is Irani of
Yeah.
What do you call angel? M. You can tell me start with M. Because I read the food on the angel. And Iranian. Oh.
Just a compliment, I think.
Lebih puasnya Ramli.
Yeah.
Puasnya Ramli.
Thank you so much.
I do personal and the king is my shepherd. And I'm not
Men to kali ulit tayo
having the same diet as
American populars.
one of the last mythologies.
चलो तो फिर भी चली जाऊँ लेकिन अकेले नहीं मिल
Very interesting.
पता नहीं जब मैं आई हूँ तो वो भी वो कर रहा था
I've tried to, but it's not widely available. It's the same with a lot of the Japanese novelists. The works by Akutagawa, for example. It's not translated. One is the Shahnameh you learn version, one is the I wish to visit someday.
And then kalau macam dia sekat bilingual, and then I have slowly Malay and then I have more building to on signals at each requires office with a oh yes, masih ada je. Manuscript. Also very old manuscript, like the Nihon Shotani answer, the for you. So they what might feel related. And then soft point about it. Then I tell you, yes, that's good. Memang, it's only masakan my name is Marcel. They have Punjabi, right? Oh, but I've been living in Malaysia since 2000. What is that? I think I know why this name sounds so familiar. My father, where's the Suleiman culture? My father probably. But no, but I remember. I've been going to Ethiopia and going back for wow. Because my father was working there. My mother is a master in and for me, then I'm sure your father would know. It's very likely because the name sounds very familiar to me. So it looks like I go home and tell you. Suleiman culture. There's also the